this event is partly funded by the WA Waste Authority. So you'll hear speakers talking about how Noongar societies have lived on this land for a long time, and they used everything, they respected everything, and they didn't have any such thing as waste, which is a bit different to our society. This event is also sponsored by Antar WA, and we have some committee members here, including myself, and of course the Murdoch Community Garden, which is located inside the Environmental Technology Centre at Murdoch University. And what we focus on there is sustainable food systems. So we're encouraging no waste today. Around the side here there's a worm farm, and John Waller from the Murdoch Community Garden has brought along a food waste bin. So we don't want to leave any waste behind, just like the Noongar people, well, in a slightly different way to what the Noongar people would have done. And speaking of Noongar people, we're really fortunate to have one of the recognised leaders of Noongar country here today, Dr Richard Walley. Thank you, Richard. And thank you everyone for coming.
Thanks, John. Kaya ngara job jenang nenok na jenengan ngara koromot ngara ya ngara boromot boja kaya wa. Maman jenang nenok na wangin jenang kada jenang wangin jenang Ngarniny. Jenang Ngarniny wangin maman jenang nenok kaya wa. Ngara job jenang nenok na gabakan jenengan ngara koromot boja na ya mot boja. Kok boja kaya wa. Na jenengan born ngara koromot born jenengan nenok. Anak jenengan na boja kaya kan kop boja ai di kaya di boja iya di boja ka kaya wa anak jenengan na pindah ngan kop rinen kep dan dia ada kep na kop kep anak jenengan kop jenengan alena kara na kara into the wardan nara koromot boja kaya wa. May the good spirit be with us this morning and guide us through our gathering and presentation, and give those who are talking and presenting today the capacity and the ability to relay their message, and those who receive the message the ability to pass it on to those who require it. And there's a lot of people who require messaging. I also said this is a part of the Wajak country. We call this the Wajak the Buja. The Buja is the land, the Born, of course, is the trees, and the Bujagar is the sand. We've got into Pindar. The Pindar is the lake system that links us all up. Over the hills to the lakes, we've got the Wardan, which is the ocean, and the ocean links us again, regardless of where you're from in the world. And I also said when we share some food and share some drink here today, may the good spirit be with us and guide us through that. We have many songs and many stories that go with our locations. No place is it put there by accident. There's an evolution that's around you here. It took thousands of years to evolve into what we see. Some of these plants, like the barlga, you see the grass trees and that behind, they're some thousands of years old. You've got the zamia, son of the Born, and the zamia palms that are over here come from the people called the prehistoric time. We saw it from the dreaming time. And those sort of things are very important because they link us again to our past and our present and our future. When I'm talking about our Goramort, Yayamort, Buddhamort, it's the people from the past and the present. We have a responsibility today to make sure that the children and our grandchildren are following us and not asking the question. They won't be asking, "Onya karak, man goring and bora, bora karak." You know, in the past, people used to say there was thousands of birds, like the black cockatoos, used to fly around here. And of course, if you destroy a tree, you're destroying more than just a habitat for a bird. There's a whole link that actually links that tree to the ground, and it links that bird, and that bird links to another part of another part plant. So there's a link in nature that makes us all responsible to make sure that we're a part of it. We don't actually own it. So in our culture, that was one of the biggest challenges we had to actually prove our existence. Why we have to prove our existence, particularly with native title and places like that, is that if you leave no trace anywhere, if you go and live somewhere and you leave no trace, people can't see where you've been, so you can't prove that we put this rock here 1,000 years ago, and that rock's a landmark, or you actually put up a fence, or you've got these markings. The true environmental system is that when leave no trace, you don't see any trace. And also our border lines are actually interlinked. So we didn't have these border lines where you had these rows of gates and fences and stuff that keep people apart. Our border lines actually linked people, so we shared them. So if you see the hills over here on they'll call that the Karamurunda, the dark hills, the Darling Ranges. Those dark hills are the links between Wajak and Balladong. So it's not a line that separates. So Wajak can walk over the hill, Balladong can walk over here, we share that. And that is the blueprint for social harmony. So not only did we have environmental harmony with nature, we had also social harmony within each other. So, and this is one of the epicenters I always maintain. This is an epicenter of social harmony. Because in this land here, there's no organised warfare ever took place. So we never had an army to fight anyone else. We had arguments and we had fights, and we still have them now, particularly with relations and people who are close. The closer you are, the bigger the fights. But you never had the organised warfares. So these are some of the world's treasures, not just us to embrace, but you can go to many parts of the world and tell people, I come from a place of social harmony where there's no recorded conflict, organised conflict. So with that in mind, I won't speak too long as I can keep you going. I'd just like to do a couple of little songs. If I got a couple of kids to do some volunteering up here, we'll do a little story of how we can connect together. So I'll do a song and a story, because if I could have kids come up here to open this up, we need to share this out. So volunteers, this is a story that takes place in this little land, and this land was in this dark valley. In this dark valley, there was hands that was hanging around. There was heads nodding around. There was feet that were standing around. And there's bodies that were swaying around. But they're never in bits, they're all in bits and all in pieces, never together. So there's hands over here, and there's feet over there. Heads were over here, and the bodies were laying around over here. And nothing ever happened in this dark valley of the land of bits and pieces. Then one day, well done, one day this hand decided it was going to get out of this place. So the hand went to the side of the mountain. It grabbed hold of a rock, but that's as far as it got. So it hopped down and started scratching its thumb, thinking real hard. If I'm going to get out of here, I need someone to give me a hand. Aha, he thought, another hand. So the hand went back to the land of bits and pieces and saw this other hand just hanging around. And it said to the other hand, how'd you like to join me and we can get out of here? Sure, said the hand. So the two hands went back to the side of the mountain, and the first hand grabbed the rock. The second hand grabbed the rock. But as far as they got, they hopped down and they started having a conversation. The one hand said, I wouldn't mind getting up to that ledge up there. That ledge, the other hand said, that ledge just leaves a foot away. A foot, they thought. Aha. So back to the land of bits and pieces, and there was this foot just twisting around at the time. And they said to the foot, how'd you like to join us? We can get out of here. Sure, said the foot. So they went back to the side of the mountain. The first hand grabbed the rock. The second hand grabbed the rock. The foot reached up for the ledge, but down they fell, and the foot said, what are you trying to do? They said, get to that ledge, it's a foot away. The foot said, no, that's at least 2 feet. 2 feet, they said. That's when they went back to the land of bits and pieces, and there's this other foot just tapping at the time. And they said to this foot that was tapping, how'd you like to join us and we can get out of here? Sure, said the foot. This time they said, we've got it. They went back to the side of the mountain. The first hand grabbed the rock. The second hand grabbed the rock. The foot reached up on the ledge, the next foot on the ledge. But as far as they got, so they hopped down and they said, we need to spread out. The hand said, I need to grab that rock over there. The foot said, I need to get on this ledge over here. What we need is to be way apart. We're too close. We need somebody to keep us apart. Aha, they said, somebody, that's what we need. So they went back to the land of bits and pieces, and there's this body just swaying at the time. And they said to the body, can you join us and we can get out of here? I am able. Sure, said the body. So they went back to the side of the mountain. They said, we've got it this time. The first hand grabbed the rock. Second hand grabbed the rock. foot went up onto the ledge, next foot up on the ledge. The hand crossed, the body swayed, the feet kicked, and down they fell. And the hand said, just a minute, I didn't know what the body was doing. The body swayed and said, well, I didn't know what the feet were doing. And the feet said, well, I didn't know what anyone's doing. What we need is cooperation and coordination. If we don't have cooperation and coordination, we'll never get ahead. They said, get ahead. So they went back to the land of bits and pieces, and there was this head just nodding at the time. And they said to the head, how'd you like to join us and we can get out of here? Sure, said the head, that way we can go ahead. So they went back to the side of the mountain. The hand reached up for the rock, and the head said, what are you trying to do? They said, we want to get up to the top of the mountain over here. The head said, well, instead of climbing up the ledges and the rocks, why don't we walk up the footpath? Good idea, they thought. So they walked up the footpath, and when they got to the top, they saw at the end there was birds flying, there was rivers flowing, there were trees in the breeze, and there were things like emus and kangaroos. And they looked back where they came from, and they saw these bits and pieces still hanging around. There's still hands hanging around, bodies still laying around, heads still nodding. And they decided if we stick together and work together, we can go to wherever we like. And that's how they got out of the land of bits and pieces. So I thank our little volunteers. We tell that story for a number of reasons. Together, if we work together collectively, things happen. Also, if you're aiming for an objective, sometimes it comes from other areas. Your way may not be the only way. And as things join up, you find that nature takes care of itself, and it always does. And we also have to take care of nature whenever we can. So thanks this morning. I'll finish up by doing a little song for you. John, thanks for your group for organising this, and Antar and the sponsors. These sorts of things are very important. It's not a matter of how many people are here, it's how much energy you bring to it. Unfortunately, we can't stay for long. We've got to go to a couple of other appointments we have. But thank you very much. And I'll finish up by doing a little song about sharing food. We call it Ngarniny. And the sharing of the food is very important to us. We call it Ngarniny. Barmin Yonga, if Mia knows some of these little words, so we're going to Barmin Yonga and Barmin Jiljit, the spearing, born again, Canadian born, getting the born from the also known as courage, and there's different names for it out of the ground. Ngarniny, kopen, Ngarniny, ngala, buji, Barmin Yonga, Ngarniny. Ngarniny, kopen, Ngarniny, Barmin Jiljit, ngala, Ngarniny. Koring, Ngarniny, born a Ngarniny, ngala, buji, Ngarniny. Kaya, Mum and John, may the good spirit be with you, and I'll hand you back to John.
Thanks very much, Richard. He never ceases to amaze us with the beautiful stories and style that he's got in portraying information to people.